worked out. It's always been an outlet for me. Weightlifting training, even as a little kid, growing up, my parents would send me to my room when I got in trouble. I'd have some dumbbells in there, and I'd go in there and just get my frustration out right there. Just exercise, working out, lifting weights. In 2010, I got serious back into the gym. The head trainer in the gym asked if I ever thought about bodybuilding. I hadn't, so he helped me get ready for my first show, and kept going from there. I like the aesthetics, the old school look, but I wanted to be able to have the athleticism and, be able to be functional, not just only be good for lifting weights and posing on stage. Any beginner should start with the basic movements and build strength first. So build the strength first and then work on the reps with that strength. My philosophy is, finally finish it off. Once everything's torn down, everything's exhausted, go for the pump, 15 to 20 reps maybe, depending on the muscle, and really pump all the oxygen, blood, nutrients into it after everything's torn down. So for anybody that is just getting started, has that passion, wants to get where the people they look up to are at, don't worry about failure. Everybody's gonna fail at some point. What's gonna get you where you wanna be is learning from every failure and being better every time. Be your best. Don't worry about anybody else. Don't worry what anyone else is doing. Every day go in with the goal of beating your best.
Posing is one of the harder parts for me in the sport. I was never one to be on stage. I was somebody that would get nervous talking in front of a crowd, or I quit my swim team when they made me put a Speedo on because I just didn't want to be out there like that. And now I get on stage in one. So the posing aspect is very difficult for me, as far as I love that aspect of it. I love tweaking things and finding what angles look the best on me.
Wow, and realized I was getting a little out of shape, a little weaker. 2010, I got serious back into the gym, and after about a year of training, the head trainer in the gym asked if I ever thought about bodybuilding. I hadn't, but didn't really know much about it. I knew how to get strong because I'd been on the weightlifting team. I didn't know much about building muscle or nutrition. So he helped me get ready for my first show, and I did that in the fall of 2011 and just kept going from there.
Anything in particular that made you go with classic?
Well, I did my first NPC show in 2000 in Jersey and got 9th place as a light heavyweight, and I said, man, I gotta put some size on. Those guys are massive. So I started bulking like crazy, putting on size, just pounding calories, lifting heavy, which I always like to lift heavy anyways, but I was just putting food away, and with the diet, that's pure mind, willpower. When you think you can't barely get out of bed, you can't barely think because you're drained and depleted a couple weeks before a show, and you still have to get up and do an hour of cardio, and you still have to eat egg whites and fish and asparagus all day, and it's pure love and willpower of wanting to be the best and wanting to know that you did everything in your power to win, whether you win or not. It's not your decision once you're on stage. It's the judges make that call. But if you can stand on stage and know you did everything possible to bring your best, then you won.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about posing, like your take on posing, your favorite poses, the hardest parts for you?
Posing is one of the harder parts for me in the sport because I'm not a performer. I'm not a dancer. I know some of these athletes have backgrounds where they are performers or dancers, or they grew up doing this or that, or they just have natural talent of putting on a show. And I was never one to be on stage. I was somebody that would get nervous talking in front of a crowd, or I quit my swim team when they made me put a Speedo on because I just didn't want to be out there like that. And now I get on stage in one. So the posing aspect is very difficult for me as far as the performance. As far as learning new poses and finding what looks good on my body, I love that aspect of it. I love tweaking things and finding what angles look the best on me. The funny thing about my favorite poses is they're not the ones that look the best on me. I love seeing certain bodybuilders from the 80s and 70s and the poses they hit, and when I try and hit them, it just doesn't look right. But they're some of my favorite poses. Like you see even like Chris Bumstead hit the front lat spread. It's phenomenal. And I've worked really hard on bringing my front lat spread up and making it better, but it's still not on par with some of these other guys. And the front double bicep is one of my favorite poses, and it's always been my worst pose. I recently found a way to tweak it and hit it to where it started looking a lot better. But if you look at my older pictures, it was never a strong suit. So I love the learning aspect of posing, always finding new angles to make yourself look better, and that's bodybuilding. It's an illusion. You find ways to make yourself look better than you really do. So posing is an art, and you can manipulate it to make yourself look completely different. And I love that aspect of it. The hard part, control, man. A few minutes on stage posing is harder than a 2-hour workout in the gym any day. You come off stage having to control your breathing, flex every muscle in your body while keeping a smile on your face and controlling everything so that everything is in composure. It is completely draining and exhausting. But as soon as you see those pictures or the videos and next to all the other incredible athletes, and you're like, I pulled that off. And it's worth it 100-fold. But man, it is difficult. It is exhausting.
That was perfect. Your inspirations.
Wow. Inspirations for training and lifting and getting in the gym. First and foremost, I'd probably have to say my older brother. He kicked my butt all the time. So, but at the same time, he pushed me and motivated me. And so when I was in 7th grade, he was going to the local gym. I'm from a small town. There was only one gym in the entire town. So, and I got a gym membership. I wasn't old enough to go by myself, so I went with him. And, we worked out, and we pushed each other. I couldn't keep up with him, obviously. I was like, 12 years old. But it pushed me in the gym, and that was definitely a huge motivation and inspiration. He was only 3 years older than me, but, definitely helped a lot. As far as getting into bodybuilding inspirations, man, everyone's going to say Arnold. Everyone's going to say Arnold just because he became the American dream off of bodybuilding, which is insane, especially considering today's era of bodybuilding is such a niche sport. And now you look at Arnold back then, and he became governor and, the famous actor and everything off of bodybuilding. So, of course, everyone looks up to Arnold. Everyone's inspired by that. But as far as we were talking about posing, Lee Labrada is probably my favorite. All-time favorite posing, one of my favorite bodybuilders. Then you have people like Rich Gasperi, who was probably one of the hardest workers in the gym, killed every workout. Everyone talks about how intense he was. And I love that. That's one of the other parts of my training is all about intensity. If you're coming in there and half-assing everything, you're not pushing yourself. So love to see that intensity. And then Lee Priest was definitely a big inspiration as far as bodybuilding. For one, I love to eat, so I love seeing Lee Priest's off-season pictures and knowing that it did not affect him one bit when he got back into contest shape.
Yeah.
His waist was still tiny. He came in peeled, and he put on muscle every year. And then you got these guys that are afraid to put on a little bit of fat. And I love to eat. I'm gonna get fluffy in the off season. I'm gonna eat some food. I'm gonna put on some weight, and then I'll peel it off whenever it comes time to compete again. So I told some people earlier this year, I was like, as soon as I finally get an off season, I'm having a Lee Priest off season. Not knowing much about nutrition. Nutrition is key. If you can work out all day long, as hard as you want, but if you're not feeding the muscle, if you're not getting enough sleep and enough nutrients, you're not going to grow. And so nutrition is key. And then the other aspect is, don't worry about failure. Everybody's going to fail at some point. What's going to get you where you want to be is learning from every failure and being better every time. So if you follow me on Instagram and you see me hashtag things, every single picture is beat your best. You know, don't worry about anybody else. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Every day go in with the goal of beating your best. You know, I always say don't worry about being the best. Worry about being better. Everyone has their own definition of the best, but worry about being better every time you step in there. Beat your best.
Perfect. I think I got everything I need. That'll be perfect.
Palest guy he knows, and I live in Florida.
You busy?
Yeah.
Look at that. That looks off the hook. Look at the length in the backs, shoulders. Dynamite. Good. Tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. Double. chest.
You like that new way I'm hitting the front double there?
Yeah.
I think it's more classic.
Yeah. I mean, you still look rugged as hell. You know what I mean? It's just, I was. That looks packed. Packs look right there. Super. That looks great. That looks crazy. You look crazy today. Good. You look tremendous. Tremendous. All angles. Full as a house. I know.
All.
I know. I can tell by the pose that you don't feel full. You look full as a house. This looks crazy. You've improved your legs, you've improved your pecs, you've improved your. Yeah, that's what looks crazy. You look great.